Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1Million by 1Million Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. 1M, as you know, is the first global virtual accelerator in the world. Our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million and beyond in annual revenue, build $1 trillion in global GDP, and 10 million jobs. This is the 346th 1M Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. We've been doing this since the fall of 2008. So it's almost 10 years of relentless pursuit of this mission. The program in its current form was launched in 2010. Before that, we did the blog and the roundtables. So the recording of this roundtable will be available after the session on our YouTube channel as well as on the blog. If you're live tweeting the show today, please use hashtag 1M1M. Maureen, can you cut the noise that is coming in? If you are following us on Twitter, you probably know this, but if you're not, we do recommend that you follow us on Twitter at 1M1M or at Stromana. Either way is fine. We publish a tremendous amount of really interesting and educational content that you would find useful in your attempts to learn entrepreneurship methodology. The YouTube channel is 1M1M Roundtables. You find all our past recordings as well as lots of other, again, interesting video content. These are the call-in instructions, and they are, I'm going to open up the line for call-ins a bit later in the program. So, but remember, this is a roundtable. This is not a broadcast, it's a roundtable. So we want to hear from as many of you as possible. We want you to participate as actively as possible. So throughout the session, set your public chat to send to all participants, and then ask questions in public chat, and then when I open up the line a bit later, you can also dial in and weigh in. We are going to start today's session with Ashik Ahmed, CEO, CTO and co-founder of Deputy. Ashik is joining us from Australia, and if you are aware of international time zones, you would probably be able to calculate what Ashik's time zone is. It's really late, or you could call it early in the morning, whichever way, but Ashik has been wonderful in adjusting with our time zone requirements. And thank you, Ashik. Ashik, welcome, and it's great to have you.
Thank you, Suwana. It's great to be here. May I add, part of the challenge of growing a business from Australia actually has been sacrificing your sleep from time to time. So yes. Even though it's at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's rather usual for me at times.
All right. Well, let's start by having you tell us what Deputy does.
So Deputy is an employee scheduling and workforce management platform for the hourly paid market or shift workers, which actually happens to be 60% of the working population in the Western economy. So Deputy as a platform allows to do everything as far as the scheduling of the hourly workers, time and attendance, once they arrive at work, the communication and newsfeed. There's a Slack-like feature inside the product. There is tasking as well as performance management in there. And at the end of it, we integrate all the time and attendance data with payroll product. Payroll products are there so that the employees get paid. So basically everything from a day-to-day touch point of hourly paid employees is handled through Deputy.
And you have bootstrapped this company to $10 million in revenue. Tell us how you did that.
A lot of hard work and sacrificing sleep middle of the night. It actually started with, the product was an in-house invention. We had my co-founder actually started a business of his own in the world of aviation here in Sydney, Australia. And he grew that business from 2 people to 200 people in the space of 10 years. I came out of college, or we call it university over here in Australia, And I met him as chance had it, and I noticed that quite a lot of his time was spent behind just managing employees and being in aviation, being 24 hours. It was really, really gruesome. Even simple things like if somebody called in sick, it will literally take 3 hours in a day for him to deal with that. I'm like, there's got to be better ways of doing things. So we actually came up with the in-house invention that really allowed us to streamline the business, so much so in the next 3 years, we grew the business from 200 to nearly 1,400 people. And at that point, we realized we have something in our hand, and we took all our learnings and founded Deputy. And then we made that product. We rebuilt it completely from scratch. And over next 2 years, we made it really, really industry agnostic. We found our first customer by actually it's a friend of a friend, if I can put it that way, in the world of restaurants, and it worked so well. And that customer was rather kind of a, how should I put this, like an early adopter of technology in the community, and it worked so well for them that they were speaking very highly of it, and basically it's been word of mouth ever since then. I mean, one thing that we did not plan for at all, and we got lucky, I must say, is the fact that in the hourly paid world, and we actually have published a white paper on that ever since on our website, is people only last their job for only 9 months. Every 9 months they go get a new job, and as they were getting a new job, and they had to go with the old way of doing things, either on pen and paper or Excel or a computer product, they said, why don't you guys look at Deputy? And that has been one of the things about in terms of how we've grown our business, as well as some really, really key partnerships that we had done in terms of. I told you that we're doing time and attendance, and we're integrating with payroll product. And as we're integrating with payroll products, we built our integration really, really smoothly, and the payroll products started recommending us. And one of them actually was Xero, for example. I mean, Xero recently, you would have heard, in the last couple of days have reached 1 million subscribers themselves worldwide. And they have really helped tell the Deputy story, because we solve a massive pain point for Xero customers in terms of how Xero does accounting and how Deputy allows to plug into the accounting and payroll of Xero customers. Almost all Xero customers, if they're running payroll, will be running a solution like Deputy. And at early stage of this company in 2012 and 13, every customer from Xero.
Intervene for a second, Ashik. Let's try to help the audience understand the significance of your Xero partnership. So, folks, obviously Ashik is saying that he got a lot of customers through word of mouth in the beginning, but one of the breakthrough strategies to really get velocity with Deputy was this partnership with Xero. So you do need to understand the Xero partnership. Xero is kind of like a small business ERP SaaS software, right, Ashik? And starting with Australia, this is an Australian company originally. They have broadened their universe from Australia to outside of Australia. In fact, I would actually like to do the Xero story. I don't think we've done the Xero story yet. But regardless, so it turned out that in that they had a good penetration into segments where there were lots of hourly workers, and as the twain had met, as Deputy and Xero met in certain customers, they started discovering that it was really effective to have those two technologies work together. So Ashik, talk about how the Xero sales force started to sell Deputy.
So Xero, I'll just correct one thing. Xero actually started out of New Zealand, but Australia was their biggest biggest market for that matter. So Xero is a proud Kiwi company. I like to call them Kiwi as opposed to Australia for that. Anyway, so what happened was Xero was an accounting and ERP company, and there was a Xero add-on, which was a payroll software company called PayCycle. Xero actually acquired that product and made that part of Xero natively. And they released an API for payroll, and this is the early days of everything being API, I must say. And we developed an integration with Xero. We built it in such a way that the integration would add immense amount of value to the customer. And by value, what I mean is that Deputy was predominantly mobile, where Xero was mobile as well as a web product or a cloud product for that matter. And most of the people who are using Xero for running payroll or the accounting function will probably be running it on the web product. This is 2012 or 13 I'm talking about. But Deputy added so much mobility in terms of how, hey, if I just hired an employee, I can just hire you on my phone. Via API, we will create that product, create that employee in Xero. If the employee then go in and updated their contact details, it will automatically be synced to Xero. Basically, everything that can happen as far as data error or human error in the world of hourly paid employee management was all streamlined. It worked so well that our customers would absolutely love it. When we went and go and do a sales pitch inside Xero's sales team saying that, hey, this is how our integration works, this is how we can talk about it to our customers, what would happen is that Xero salespeople, as they're talking to Xero customers about Xero, and at the end of Xero, a customer or prospect will go, hey, I have all these people, how do I manage them? Do you have a solution for that? Their answer would be, no, we don't have anything, but we have this partner called Deputy. Why don't you check them out? And it will, and it completely integrates. It works so well that I can tell you that we used to measure our bounce rate or sign-up rate from different channels. We had literally something like, if I remember correctly, 87% conversion rate if a lead came through Xero. I mean, that was really, really good in terms of prospect to trial or trial to paid, I mean, from an end-to-end conversion point. To the point that in the early days, every second customer here in Australia was coming from Xero. What that meant is the fact that we didn't necessarily need to have a marketing team of our own. We didn't need to have a sales team of our own, which actually allowed me to get to that $10 million revenue almost without having to have a massive capital requirement.
So could you talk about the timeline? When did you start Deputy, and when did the Xero partnership kick in gear?
So we started Deputy 2008, end of 2008, and first year and a half was rather kind of building the product. We'd had our first independent customer in 2010. The Xero partnership we would have launched about 2012, I would say. The company Xero had acquired called PayCycle, we were already integrating with them from 2011. But we started seeing massive results out of the Xero ecosystem from end of 2012 and obviously into 13, 14, and every other year after that.
And before the Xero partnership kicked in gear, how far had you gotten to revenue-wise?
I don't think we would have ever even reached, $1 million or anything like that at all.
So it was a massive accelerator.
Yep, I hope they don't come for a referral fee. I don't think they will. But anyway, we add immense amount of value to their customer base. Matter of fact, since then we have done other partnership with point-of-sale companies like Bend, Counter, Square, and when you put the three pieces together of, the Deputy, Xero, and a point-of-sale, in the world of retail, in the world of hospitality, it kind of acts like a joint solution. You could go and buy, something off the shelf which does everything, but they're not usually as good. Whereas the solutions we partner with, from a customer point of view, what happens is that you're buying the best of three solutions that work together, and we all get out of bed every morning to make our thing the best thing it can be. So at the end of the day, the customer gets the best out of it. I mean, the one way I can put it, I'm not a marketer. I was never a marketer. Well, probably I am right now. I had to learn throughout it. But being a technologist, I must say that integration was like a marketing activity. When we went and developed an integration with another company, be it Xero, be it Gusto, be it NetSuite, or whoever, that integration became a marketing job of its own. So in a product-led growth strategy, that was the marketing piece for us.
Yeah. Yes, but the truth is, though, these kinds of partnerships, as you know, are few and far between. They don't come that often, and when they come, they can act as a huge multiplier, huge accelerator, but the truth is they don't come that easily, and one of the tricks of making something like this happen is to have a product that customers are buying, and it seems to me from your story that the customers figured out how to use Xero and Deputy together, and then the Xero partnership happened. There were joint customers first, and then the partnership, actual corporate-to-corporate partnership happened, isn't it?
That's correct. I mean, the truth about it is that you can, I mean, everybody has an API these days. You can go and build an integration with anybody and anything you like, but it's not actually about the integration. You have to put the customer first. You have to understand what value it adds. I mean, part of the story about Xero might be that, hey, this might be the NPS of a customer who uses Xero. This might be an NPS of a customer who uses just Deputy. But when you add but if you have a customer who are using Deputy and Xero together, their NPS is so much higher. And that's when it made sense. Okay, there's something unique happening, something magic happening where when these two products work together, it truly makes a big difference in the customer's life. And as a growth hacking idea, by the way, if I can give any tips for those who are entrepreneurs and trying to build something in the marketplace, is that one of the tricks that we did in our product is that we would measure automatically. The whole thing was automated. I mean, to this day, actually still automated. That we would find, hey, those who are exporting to the the payroll provider solutions in there, like Xero, and they have successfully exported X number of times, we would automatically ask them to go and write a review on the Xero marketplace about Deputy. Hey, we noticed that you're doing this automatically. This is completely automated. That happens through intercom via events, and that started driving quite a lot of positive reviews as well in the Xero marketplace, which actually helped us gain more prospect traffic basically into the top of the funnel as well. So having that positive experience, having the fact that we can capitalize on that, and completely automating it has definitely driven prospect into the business without having to spend any money on things like AdWords or anything out of the line, basically.
But for those of you who are thinking about these kinds of, in the audience, those of you who are thinking about trying to get into this kind of partnership situations, really the trick would be to find a set of customers who are also customers of the target partner that you're going after, and trying to establish value in those accounts of how the joint product works and what kind of value you can provide to the joint product. And that is what's going to draw the attention and interest of the larger partner. So back to the partnership strategy question, Ashik, have you been able to do other partnerships like Xero, like other small business ERP providers in other geographies that have significant presence?
Absolutely. I mean, coming out of Australia, doing it with Xero worked really, really well. And as Xero was expanding into other markets, we will be, getting into their slipstream to grow our business with them as well. The other one that has worked really, really worked well with us is a company called Gusto, Gusto.com. Previously, they used to be called ZenPayroll.com. I remember in 2012 when 2013 when they started, 12 or 13, I forgot when exactly. And they had their product, but only doing payroll in California, haven't launched their API fully yet. I remember calling Joshua Reeves at least 20 times before he picked up his phone to say, hey, you don't have an API can I get access to it? If the API is there, we will go and build the integration for it and test with it. And we were the launch partner for the API. I mean, back then, Deputy was a 10 people company here in Australia. We didn't necessarily have any funding. Gusto, I believe, they already had $100 million, $80 million in the bank even before they launched. To be a launch partner with the API was massive. Matter of fact, 4 out of 5 customers in the early days here in the United States was coming from Gusto as well. So even though we didn't have no marketplace at all, no salespeople at all on the ground, and as a matter of fact, even if you went to Google and Google Deputy, I don't think we even came up till page 5 there in the United States. In Australia, it would come up, but Google, and so people wouldn't just find us. But having that Gusto partnership really allowed us to, get us off the ground. And one thing where, with the product-led growth business, we found that, hey, we were acquiring customers that are small business, like, they only have 10 or 20 people or 100 people, and they will come into our platform with Gusto. And as they scaled, plus couple of hundred employees, maybe the small business software did not cater for it anymore. Like Xero did not cater for it because we were becoming a very, very large business. But Deputy as a product could scale from 2 people to tens of thousands of people without any problem. Those customers actually have scaled with us. So we have customers like, MakeSpace or Maple out of Manhattan. They have a couple of hundreds of employees right now. They started with us coming out of, Gusto when they were really, really small. But now they have scaled. They're actually sticking with Deputy. It's been fantastic to get that level of growth as well.
Awesome. Ashik, let's switch gears a bit. You have bootstrapped first to $10 million, and then you raised $25 million in venture funding. Tell us how you went about the fundraising process. Since you're doing this out of Australia, where did you look for money? Whom did you eventually raise money from? And why did you choose that particular VC?
To be honest, so maybe we wouldn't have raised. I don't think we were even thinking about raise for many years. I mean, as a business, it's going well, and from a partnership perspective, we were getting good traction in there. We are very, 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 very lean. When you don't have funding, when you actually have to watch every dollar you earn, you have to think outside the box in terms of how you're going to grow your business without having to, hey, let's just check some money and, the customer will come. No, it doesn't work that way. That made us very, very disciplined. And you know what? And we doubled down on it. We absolutely doubled down on it. And coming in from the world of aviation, where we have to be really, really vigilant in how we manage our processes, how we manage our expense. I suppose from an entrepreneurial perspective, both myself and Steve were really, really disciplined in how we were spending our money. But something with the partnership channel is the fact that you can only get to that altitude that your partners are, flying at. You cannot, obviously, at one point you end up saturating, 100% of that marketplace or 100% of their customer base, or you're limited by their growth rate, or in certain geographies they're not probably expanding. So, and we knew our product was really, really good. We had really high NPS, and if we are not adopting sales and marketing ourselves, or going above the line to some degree, or even going digital marketing very heavily ourselves, we're leaving money on the table. So, and at the same time, what kept happening is the fact that every single day we'll wake up here in Australia, and there'll be an email from some VC firm. Hey, heard great things about Deputy. Love to have a coffee and chat. Can we get on a phone call? And it just kept happening to the point, I'll just get one of those emails and go, no, not responding. But we realized that, hey, we're probably doing a disservice to the business and to its full opportunity in terms of just maintaining full ownership. Maybe if we had a partner that understood what we are about, what our vision is about, what our mission is about, because the product came out of a necessity. It came out of improving people's lives. It made a massive difference in Steve's life, and every employee that worked for Steve in his past business.
Right.
If somebody aligns with those values, those vision, exactly. So I mean, there is the number of VC firms that are available here in Sydney. I can probably count them in one hand, to be honest. And we realized that hey, we can. There will not be shortage of funding, but it's finding the right partner. We spoke with pretty much all the partners here in Australia, VC partners. Then we actually got on a trip. I remember end of October last year, where I think I did about 27 pitches in 5 days. There was a day that I did about 6 pitches from 7 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock at night.
And this was in the Bay Area?
Yeah, in Sand Hill Road, as well as many places in San Francisco. And yeah, I mean, one thing I got out of it, as gruesome it was, I must say that it was. I got a lot of validation out of it, because quite a lot of being in Australia, you're most often disconnected from the buzz of the valley, other than what you can read in TechCrunch or one of these webinars like this. But going and meeting all these VCs who see up to 5,000 or 6,000 companies per year, and the amount of interest they had shown, it was really, really satisfactory. And then it came down to the fact that, hey, who would be the partner we will go with? Now, there was a couple of term sheets on the table, even by next week when we return to Australia. But there's the OpenView guys. They just showed up in our door. And then they showed up in our door with it and sent us a term sheet where they left the valuation field empty. They said, you can choose your own valuation if you want. That was one side of it, but the other side of it is that we truly felt that OpenView are the partners who can understand us and really get to our business and how it can make a difference in our customers' life. They did huge amount of due diligence work. They actually were telling things about our customers that we didn't even know. The funny thing is that we only had spoken to 3% of our customer base. The other 97% has kind of self-onboarded without having to have any, sales or onboarding hand-holding. But to read some of the testimonials they were, transcribing from their customer interviews was really, really valuable. So I really felt that both as founders, at the end of the day, it's been 8 years of, blood, sweat, and tears to get this company to where it is. And then to find a partner like OpenView who really gets it and understands it has been.
Ashik, I have to, at this point, I have to interject and say something that I say often to people in the 1M1M program. VCs love to come to the rescue of victory. So you have put the blood, sweat, and tear to get it up to $10 million in revenue, and then they love to come to the rescue of victory. They chase you. So this is one thing we see all the time in our program is everybody thinks that entrepreneurship equals financing. And they decide that they want to do a startup, and they decide, okay, now I need to go out and raise money. Your story is yet another reinforcement of our philosophy, which is entrepreneurship equals customers, revenues, and profits. Financing is optional, exit is optional. If you do take financing, you will need to exit. But that is kind of the core philosophy of the 1M1M program. And this story, your story, Ashik, is exactly the kind of stories we want to see over and over again in our program. And we have companies that are, in about 4 or 5 years have gotten to $4 million with no financing. We have several companies who have gone through the program and are at that stage right now. And I'm, and they come back and tell me exactly that what you're saying is that, it's been blood, sweat, and tears, but they don't necessarily want to do it any other way. They kind of like it the way they're doing it, and they are all getting calls about, acquisitions or investments and so forth. So that's the other thing I want to tell you all is that do not go to VCs like beggars. Go like kings, So, Ashik's situation is where the VCs are chasing him. And that's the situation that you want to be in, not the other way around. So it's just fantastic to see, what happened in your journey, Ashik. Go ahead.
Absolutely. I mean, this might come as a shocking thing for me to say, but I'll say it anyway. I don't think about for first 2 or 3 years in running Deputy, I knew that even VCs existed.
Yeah, that's perfectly
to be honest,
fine.
Coming out of Australia, I don't think even VCs existed, which forced me to, not have that thought in my mind at all, let alone. I mean, I tell you when I first realized there's VCs. In 2011, we did this. Amazon used to run this startup contest, startup challenge, where they would select startups in there. In 2011, we were the APAC winner. So coming out of Asia Pacific, Deputy was the company that was selected, and we came in, and then Amazon, as part of that pitch, actually organized speed dating with the top-tier VCs of the Valley, and I had no idea what's VC.
What this is all about.
I had to really go look at it. What are they talking about? What's going to happen out of that one? I thought I was there for the $100,000 prize money coming out of Amazon and not having to pay for Amazon. But no, that was sometimes ignorance is bliss. I would say that it worked out rather well in the early days for us. But no, I mean, my advice is the same thing as you were saying. Is when you don't have capital, you're working out of passion. You're having to do it the hard way. You're gonna make a lot of mistakes. But I mean, I strongly believe that you actually learn more out of your mistakes than you would do, out of hearing other people or out of the things that are working. So you just have to try, and not having capital forces you to think outside the box. And
also I think the truth is that it does take time to find a high velocity path to growth. There's a lot of experimentation. As you discovered yourself, it took you 4 years to get to $1 million, but after that, things started accelerating with the partnerships with Xero, with Gusto, and so forth. Now, but it took many years before that kind of acceleration happened. And VCs want to go from, 0 to 100 million in 5 to 7 years. If you're doing the whole thing on the VC clock, that clock becomes oppressive. The VCs are not going to wait for 5 years before you get to $1 million in revenue, and they're just not interested in doing that, and that just doesn't fit their model. So on the other hand, if you do what you have done, Ashik, is get to a certain amount of acceleration and then bring in growth capital, that works really, really well. Now, not all businesses can follow that method. Like last week, we had Eric Frankel from SQL and SQL, and SQL is a fat startup. There was a tremendous amount of relational database building for big data applications, and that there was like several, probably 18 to 24 months of just pure development with very expensive engineers before that product could go to market. So it's a very different style of business, but in your kind of business, the way you've done it is the textbook case study of how it needs to be done, how it should be done, how it ought to be done. So congratulations. Let's switch to the mentoring section of the program today, Ashik.
Cool. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about it today.
Great. Folks, let me set a bit of expectations before we go into the entrepreneur pitches. This is a working session. We are on your side. We have no other agenda but to try to help you along in your process. First-time entrepreneurship is a gigantic learning curve and a very steep learning curve. So all we are trying to do here is to help you climb that faster, more efficiently, and by kind of standing on the shoulders of others who have done before. So this, you should feel completely safe discussing your issues, and if you if you disagree with the feedback that you're getting here, that's okay. It's your venture. You will make the final decision on what strategies you execute on and so forth. So, we give you thoughtful feedback, and we give you feedback that is unsugar-coated, and we're not trying to please you. We're not trying to tell you what you want to hear. We tell you what you need to hear. What you do with that feedback is up to you. But one thing I will tell you, we've just talked about this, not all businesses can raise money, not all businesses should raise money, and raising money doesn't guarantee success. If you're following the blog or any of our other syndication partner channels where my columns are syndicated, there is a whole series on debt by overfunding that we've been running. If you want to understand how you can fail miserably by raising hundreds of millions of dollars, go check out that debt by overfunding series. So in any case, if you're not participating or if you're not pitching, please do participate regardless in public chat and then by dialing in a bit later. We are going to start with Amit Varshney from Noida, India. Amit, if you could unmute your line and tell us what you're doing, that would be great.
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but speak up a little bit.
Am I audible?
You're audible, yes. Go on. Go ahead, Amit. What's going on? Maureen? Should we move on to the next entrepreneur who wants to pitch, and while Amit sorts through his environment? Looks like his call dropped off. So folks, this happens a lot in our, because people dial from all over the world, they dial from all kinds of telephone conditions and so forth. So Vibhu, you are up next. Are you ready to call in? So folks, whoever is ready to call in of the presenters who are standing by, please go ahead. Vibhu Khanna, if you're on the call, please tell us that you're there, and I will advance to your slides. Vibhu Khanna, are you there? Gosh, you guys are doing technology projects and you can't figure WebEx out? That's no good.
Vibhu, you need to call back in. I'm sending you chat messages. I don't think you're looking. Call in now so you can pitch.
Hello.
Who is this? Somebody's on the call.
Vibhu.
Hi, Vibhu. Go ahead. We're ready for your presentation. Your slides are up.
Great. So sorry for the turbulence. There was some problem with the connection. I mean, since you were dialing in from all the mediums. And so sorry for the
Don't
voice
worry.
I have
Keep
told.
Going.
Great.
Go ahead.
So today I would like to introduce you to our venture called Desi Hali. We are basically, into customization of crafts of various kinds across India, and we have been in the business for around a decade now. However, we have been into customization of various products for only last 2 years, wherein we are talking sales of revenues of more than $150,000 continuously, with a 15% profit margin on year-to-year basis.
Can you talk a little bit about what kind of customization you're talking about? Are you talking?
Right.
You're talking about custom-made crafts and handicrafts, not customization of products. Okay, there's two different things, huh?
Custom-made means it's according to the personalization of the customer. So we have been majorly dealing into carpets, furniture, and a few, you can say the antique pieces. For example, there are a lot of furniture from Jodhpur, which is, being bought by a lot of HNIs. So we go ahead and, deal with our customers and get those orders made for them. But all of this was an offline model.
So this is not an e-commerce company currently? Currently what you're doing is through a store or something?
Currently, we are an offline model wherein we interact with architects and interior designers and some leads, and we deliver the products. Since we have been receiving a lot of positive response, and since the numbers have been going in upward direction, we want to switch on to an e-commerce mode now, which is already in the development phase. The design that you see with the logo is already up. We have bought the domain, and the development on the website is happening these days.
And what is your revenue level?
The annual revenue is closing tomorrow. It has been continuously about $150,000.
$150,000 a year. For how many years? How long have you been in business?
It's been 2 years in continuity.
And how do you acquire customers? How do people find out about you?
Right now, the current mode is one that we tap into all the popular architects and interior designers. We have been basically dealing with them. The regions covered right now have mostly been Punjab and places like Indore and Raipur in India. The reason to go on to an online mode is, to use the digital traction and to reach a lot of other places. We have our plans to reach out to Dubai and customers in Singapore, because the kind of products that we have are more for, an upper middle class and the high class, because they are all custom made, order to order, manufacturing happens. We have already acquired, a certain amount of the certain trade in a place called Badoi, which is near Varanasi, wherein we get our carpets made ourselves. So we have our in-house team for carpets. But for the other goods like furniture and upholstery fabrics, we have our vendors who are directly supplying it to us on order-to-order basis.
And what is the average sale price of your transactions?
The price on an average is around 15,000 rupees a unit, which is, there are times which we also supply at say about 10,000, but you can say 14 to 15,000 is the average unit price that we sell.
Okay. And
which is like
how
$220.
How many customers do you have? How many architects and interior designers are you working with currently? And how many end customers are you working with currently?
In totality, we have around 20 interior designers and architects which are repeatedly working with us for the last 2 years. There are on and off orders from people, but 20 you can say in totality who have been continuously giving order once, because the average time taken to deliver a product is around 45 days from the time of order. And we have also delivered commercial projects when we have made carpets and we have done the interiors for hotels and banquet halls. So they have a longer time duration to accomplish the project, which can go up to say about 3 to 4 months. Okay.
And you are saying that you are currently raising money. You're raising 2 crores in a seed round, and why? And your company is valued at 15 crores. Based on what? Who's valued the company? Do you have a term sheet from an investor currently?
That's point which is right now, which needs a further clarity on it, because we have been able to acquire a lot of stock, from various vendors at a certain quoted price. And also we had put in a lot of money from our side initially, because, we were also exhibiting at various hotel exhibitions, various sales, wherein we acquired a lot of stock. So the discussion, we had with the accounting team and, after the transactions, it was informed to us. I need a clarity on that, though, that, the valuation would go up to 8 to 10 times of the GMV that we do.
You cannot set valuation. Valuation is set by investors. You can choose to take money or not take money based on what valuation you get from the investors, but you cannot set valuation.
Okay, I take it as a feedback. As I said, we have been somebody who's more of a traditional, business family who's got into this market, and now, we want to jump onto the next and take it on from there. So I just keep that as a feedback. And
yeah, that's fine. And last question, are you based in Jodhpur? Is that where your origin?
We are based out of NCR. We have our office in Delhi, in Oscar.
Okay.
And we deal from different locations via meetings. So there is a lot of development happening on the product front.
Okay, let me actually ask Ashish to weigh in on what his observations are about your business, and I'll give you mine as well in a moment. Go ahead, Ashik.
Right.
No, I mean, look, sounds very exciting. I'm pretty sure if my wife was online right now, if she wasn't sleeping, she would be getting on the website buying something from you right now, for that matter. Look, I mean, in this business, how are you doing marketing? How are you getting your new customer exactly? I mean, is there any viral effect? Is there anything that you're doing in terms of acquiring new customers?
Ashish, right now the main mode is contacting interior designers and architects. They are already our customers. They send us to their respective sites to take orders. Sometimes we upmarket for them for the kind of referral that they give, and at times they just refer it to us. And since they have been dealing with us for a number of years, so this is how we have been able to increase our business. And then on top of it, we network via our own networks, because the place that we sit in South Delhi, that's a hub wherein a lot of designers and a lot of HNI clients keep coming in. So we have a bit of presence out there visually as well, which attracts the crowd towards us. So it has been on a very limited level.
Anything social you're doing as far as, because I cannot see a huge amount of social impact of the business.
Right. We have put up a Facebook page last year, but then because it's only it's me and my co-founder, and we have a couple of freelancers. A lot of time goes into the manufacturing of the product, because it's a handmade product. If you talk about carpet, if you talk about the furniture, and also the quilts and the cushions that we do, the majority of work that we do is handmade. So a lot of precision is required, a lot of follow-up is required with the laborers in the factories. So a lot of time of ours goes into this. So unless and until we don't, upskill in terms of number of people that we have in the organization, there is no sincere attention to the digital space that we have. And this is something which has been troubling us for some time now.
So Vibhu, my read on your business, and I'm putting my investor cap on right now, I would like to see how this business goes from, if I put in money, I kind of have to be on that timeline we were talking about earlier with Ashik, that this needs to go from $0 to $100 million in 5 to 7 years, and I don't think you are ready to say that you can do that. And if I were you, since you have revenues and you have customers, I would kind of and there's a process, there's a customer acquisition process that is working. You have you are able to work with interior designers and architects and acquire customers through them, and you've got with 20 interior designers and architects, you've been able to generate $150,000 a year in revenue. The question that I would ask here is that, and you've done that consistently for a couple of years, so your financials, your balance sheet, your P&L, I think is bank financeable. So if you need working capital, I think banks would give you working capital, especially because you have inventory, you can get inventory financing from banks. With that, I would take that strategy from 20 to, let's say, 50 or 100 interior decorators and architects, and that's not very difficult to do. You need to call and build those relationships personally, and then in parallel launch the e-commerce site and see how much, what value you can provide to that sales process in accelerating that sales process, create galleries, create material with which you can facilitate that process of selling through these interior decorators and architects, and take this business to a much higher revenue level, and 2, much higher velocity of growth level. so that you can say that, yes, if we put in this e-commerce infrastructure into our business scales a lot faster. And here we were doing 150K a year for the first 2 years, and now we are doing, I don't know, 1 million, 2 million a year, and we are able to accelerate it, and we can show you a path of how we go from there to $100 million in the next 5 years or next 7 years. That's the story that is needed to get good investors to work with you. Right now, the problem I see right now, and we see this with a lot of our companies, including companies that are members of the 1M1M Premium Program, they come to us and they raised money at very bad terms, right? By the time they have raised like $100,000, $200,000, they've given up 50% of the company. And that makes it very difficult to build a company with later on without completely giving away the company. See, the point of entrepreneurship is not to be employees of your investors. You are building a company. You need to have equity ownership in that company. So if you give away too much of your company too soon, that is not the right way to structure an ownership model.
Correct. So as per you, the target should be to reach on to higher levels of revenue. Wherein, I know you said that you can involve banks, but we tried breaking through that bridge as well. But the possible source of funding, I mean, the maximum cap around is $35,000. That has been clear to us, because they're not just counting the stock. They're looking at the overall balance sheet numbers. So via personal loans and business loans. I don't know, how familiar you are with the Indian banking now, but there is a certain cap they have to the things, and as for that, they're ready to support us with $35,000. And if I look at that, that's going to burn out in less than 6 months. If I look at the online model, as for me, I mean, I'm looking for a mentor as well in terms of how to go about things. But if we look at it directly right now, that amount is going to be burnt in 6 months, because online action would cost.
So, we can work on your financial strategy, financing strategy, financial strategy, all of it more. I have to. We have other presenters that we have to work with now. But hang on, I will talk about how to use 1Mby1M going forward. So just stay there for a moment. Let me finish bringing on the other two presenters, and then we can talk more in a moment.
Right.
So who's going to go next? Is it Amit or somebody else? Maureen, could you give me some guidance on Amit? Okay. So let me back up. Amit, are you on the call?
Yes, I am.
Go ahead.
Can you listen to me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm sorry for the last crash. Okay. Am I audible?
Go on, Amit.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. So our product is Next on Planet, which caters and focuses on travelers basically. Next slide, please. So the platform is all about the travel assistance. So it will help you at each step of your journey. So whether it would be a planning stage, or it would be a traveling stage, or it would be a after traveling stage. So I've interviewed more than 50 to 60 people, including foreigners also, during my 2 years of experience of traveling, and I've figured out these 3 problems in a bit and pieces. So problem number 1 at the planning stage. So when you are planning a journey, you are the source of researches are the articles that you read on internet, the social sites like Facebook, Quora, the groups. Then you rely on the Google images and the videos, and you can ask your friend. And if you are a comfortable traveler or a tourist, you directly go and do the booking. So the problem in this source of research is the articles that you are rely on are mostly copy-pasted articles and written by someone else who may or may not have been there, right? The data which you have on the social sites are mostly overloaded and are not precise actually. The images again are compiled by professional or stock images or clicked by some random people over there. If you go to ask your friend, then your friend gives you suggestion on their travel experience, which may or may not be on the same season that you are planning on. And as you know, traveling and tourism is all about the seasons. So you may be asking your friend who is traveled that place in August, which is monsoon, but you are going in December. So it is basically irrelevant. And if you are going directly by booking, then the data that you are seeing on the agent site is all about compiled by the agent according to his revenue, but not according to your taste. So second problem came when you are traveling. So it happens a lot with me and with my fellow travelers. So you might miss to collect some critical information about whether the permission and document needed, maybe the inner line permit or to pass some certain bridges and natural calamity. You might miss to gather information about the hidden and unexplored places maybe. There were several issues when you are planning. So let's say you are planning a bike ride, but you don't know about the terrain of that particular place. You don't know about the nearby places. You don't know about the closing and opening timing of the monument, maybe India Gate or you see a monument, and you don't know about the medical and emergency services over there. And apart from that, basically there is no platform where you can communicate with your co-travelers and the travelers that are visiting the place that you are visiting on, right? So in our platform you can communicate and chat with strangers also if they have shared their location. So you can directly communicate with them, and based on their feedback you can visit your next destination. So this is the third problem. After traveling. After traveling, there is no as a whole platform where you can share your full journey experience. So there is no full interactive itinerary builder where you can share your travel experience. And there are very few community oriented platforms. So let's say you are a hiker and you want to contribute to hiking community, and you want to talk, you want to discuss with a hiker, but in Facebook or maybe other platforms, there are several other people who are not interested in hiking and they are not community oriented. So it's a waste of time actually, right? Then when you contribute to a community, there is no particular reward which you are getting out of that contribution, right? And there are very few platforms where you can showcase as a whole your journey. So these are the three major problems that we have figured out during traveling. All right, next slide please. So the solution is very simple. We are building a powerful platform where travelers can contribute their experience. The traveler may be a photographer, a tourist, maybe a traveler or a blogger, and we connect them socially according to their taste, right? So
I think we understand what you're trying to do. In the interest of time, let's go to your business issues. How are you going to make money? What stage are you in right now? So this too much detail on products. I think we understand what you're trying to build. What are you trying to? What is the business that you're trying to build here? What is the? Are you trying to sell an app? Are you trying to make money through advertising? What is the business?
So we are building a social platform, you can say, like Facebook meets Quora and YouTube and Instagram. So our revenue model is like Airbnb. Our business model is online to offline and offline to online. We are encouraging travelers with our offline activities, and we are building a platform where we we give their services in a premium feature. From that we will be generating revenue.
But Airbnb generates revenues from booking commissions. What is your revenue model?
Right. So our revenue model is basically in-app purchases and ads, and also offline activities.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to share before we go to questions?
As of now, there is no single platform who is focusing on virtual reality also. So we are also introducing virtual reality. So if you want to go to some place, you can easily.
Do you have any of this working right now? Do you have actually users using your product, or is this all in a concept stage?
It's an ideation phase where design and prototype is ready, and we are building the product. So you can say it's a idea just as of now, but we are building a product.
Okay, so my first and foremost feedback to you is these kinds of products, this kind of ideas, never get financed until you can show actually some level of user adoption and traction. And these kinds of products are also extremely difficult to bootstrap because advertising revenues are really, really low, low monetization clip. So unless you come from a very deep pocket background and get it to a point where you can attract investors, these kinds of businesses are very, very, very difficult to build, and they're very expensive to build. So it's a gigantic chicken and egg problem that you're taking on, and there aren't that many ways of going about how to mitigate this. One thing I can think about is if you're, are you doing this full time or do you have a job?
Actually, I'm already building a company since 3 years. I have a startup, that is IAM Labs. I'm focusing on design and development, but now I'm moving towards my product. So as of now, so you have a services business. You do design, web design services, and that generates revenue for you. Right. Right. So that would work. I would strongly advise you to keep that revenue flowing, because this is going to be a long haul. So you need some way to pay the bills while you pull together something like this. You don't assume that you're going to get a huge amount of financing right away to build this product. You're going to need to get this to a lot of traction before investors are going to be investing a penny into a venture like this. Okay. So let me ask Ashik to weigh in as well. Ashik, what do you think? Do you agree with what I'm saying?
100%. Look, I mean, I would say that there's 3 ways of selling something. You can either sell a painkiller, or you can sell a vitamin, or you can sell a vaccine. I mean, the problem statement that has been presented is fantastic. I can agree with that. I travel from time to time, and I can relate to everything that has been put in there as problem statements. I would like to see, what is the total addressable market size to some degree, as well as hey, what is the lowest hanging fruit? What can you go and do, even if you have to fake it till you make it, and so that something as a minimum viable product that you can test before you can go into continuously reiterating and building on top of that. I mean, I love the fact that he's got website building business on the side. I mean, a lot of other people have been very successful in a model like this. Companies like Basecamp, companies like Campaign Monitor, they're all a website building business originally before they came the product there. So I think this definitely has potential, but it is one of those vitamin scenarios where you need to get something going. You need to get some early adopters or customers, even with a minimum viable product, before you can think about turning into a full machine, which requires quite a lot of financing. So I fully agree with what you were saying as well. Romana.
And Amit, the other thing that I don't like about this business is the revenue model. These kinds of, you know, if a company came to me and presented this plan and said they've quit they have no other source of revenue, they don't have a web design business, and they're just trying to raise money to make this go, I would say don't go there. With you, because you have the web design business, and if you can keep the web design business going and do this kind of in parallel, kind of use the web design revenue to finance the development and experimentations that are going to be required to make this thing go, I think you have a better chance. So if someone tells you, some accelerator tells you that they're going to help you raise $1 million, you know, based on this concept, I would say they're completely bullshitting you, because I don't think it's viable. It's going to take you a long time to get to fundability. So you have to have a bootstrapping strategy, and I like the fact that you have this business with which to bootstrap, and then we can figure out a strategy on how to put one foot before the other on testing how to make this business work, including other business models. If I were advising you, I would go with a different business model than what you are putting on your pitch deck right now. That is not the right business model for this business. Okay. It may be much later in the game, but for now, to build this business, you're going to have to come up with some other kind of a business model, and we need to look into other options that monetize better and faster. Because advertising is not going to generate any substantial revenue for a long, long time until you have millions and millions of users.
So it's not.
I mean, do you travel out of your city?
Yes, I do. If you just go to previous slide.
Amit, we're going to have to move on, so I don't want to go to previous slides anymore. Why don't you go ahead and answer and start? We need to wrap up your presentation. Okay, so we have another presenter that we need to work with.
So I'm a biker and I'm a hiker. I have scaled more than 10 mountain peaks. I have traveled more than 5,000 kilometers in Himalayas. I do solo trips, more than 10 to 20 solo trips. I have crisscrossed India, pan-India. So I'm quite a avid traveler, you see.
Look, I mean, my advice over here, why don't you use yourself as one of those people to go and attract all the people who want to be like you, and start from there if you can. And I think you'll get some good traction in there.
Right. Thank you so much.
All right, I will, if you hang on, Amit, I will, let's finish working with Marvin from Johannesburg, and then we will switch back to a Q&A in a moment. I will explain to you how to use 1M1M. If you're looking to work with us, I will explain to you how to use 1M1M, and then we can go to further Q&A.
Yeah, sure. I'm waiting this for.
Marvin Cole, if you're on the line, please unmute and tell us what you're working on.
Well, hello everyone. I am online, and thank you for taking time. Just want to check if they can hear me correctly and clearly.
I can hear you fine, and I just love the fact that you're a former professional ballroom dancer. I'm an avid dancer myself.
Well, it's one of the things that I do for stress relief, and it keeps me sane as I grind. If we can go to the next page, I introduce 1Mby and what we do.
Okay.
So 1Mby is trying to solve a very large issue. I've got on a few slides, and I'm going to talk a lot about what we're trying to do here. I was with McKinsey Company for several years, helping primarily emerging market banks in Africa and Asia try to tackle the unbanked problem. One of the things we realized was that the core root cause of why many people were unbanked, and in our target market is about 700+ million people, is that they're simply not literate. And the banking system assumes literacy. It assumes you can read a contract, you can read something. And in particular in India, but also in Africa, where people are illiterate, they're also only speaking a local language. Some countries like Cameroon, just 20 million people, has more than 260 different ethnic groups who all speak different languages and who are unable to really communicate in a national language if they're especially functionally illiterate or illiterate completely. This is important in terms of these individuals are often unemployable in formal employment, and they become traders. So they can buy and sell goods. Some actually become relatively successful, but they're unable to enter the formal financial system. And that's where 1Mby has really designed a solution for these individuals. We're a fintech firm, venture-backed, out of the United States, but operating primarily in Africa. 50+ people, 4 years old. And what we've done is created a mix of supply chain finance, purchase order financing, as well as logistics on demand. And I'll walk you through how that works for a type of customer that we normally have, and then go into a bit of where our traction is, if that makes sense. So we'll skip to the next page, please. One more?
One more? One
more slide, please. Yes, exactly. So over our past roughly 4 years, there's been 2 years in development, and then the last 2 years of rolling this out. We've worked with more than 200 SMEs, deployed a bit more than $14.3 million in Cameroon, serving the typically unbanked traders with a sub 3% default rate. We chose a very frontier African market because of its frontier nature. We chose the hardest markets to go into. We recently won the best fintech in Africa for lending in 2016. And we're generally oversubscribed with demand in our target markets, and seeking to really grow the solution to be Pan-African, hopefully across Asia as well, through what is going to be a franchise model. So we ran the business ourselves to perfect the technique of our own internal technology to do risk evaluation, credit scoring, to manage what we call our Uber for warehousing model. So we actually take control, physical keys and physical control of the storage locations of our SME clients. And that allows us to basically build a network of storage rooms, warehouses, go-downs that is unique to us and that scales as we scale our demand without us taking on any physical cost ourselves. And the way our model generally works is if someone comes to us who's an SME that's trading, they typically have a working capital challenge. They don't really understand it that way, but that's the solution. That's the key issue. How do I buy more goods when I need to actually sell what I have to, and then I'm left with no inventory to then make a cash purchase to my suppliers in China or wherever they may be, even locally? 1Mby stands between. So we actually buy the goods on behalf of the SME. We take physical ownership of the goods themselves. We arrange logistics and transport on a demand basis. We then store the goods in our network of warehouses or warehouse locations, which again, we've taken control of other locations. And then we sell to the SME at a predetermined price.
Okay. Interesting. So the SMEs are all retailers then? The 200 SMEs that you're working with are all retailers?
These are wholesalers and retailers. So some of these guys are importing things like tires from China or a 6-country region, and they work entirely through us because they can't get a bank to support them.
And are there specific categories of wholesalers and retailers? Is it like in commodities? Is it in consumer goods? Where are you finding the?
So we focus on what we call consumer commodities. Things like soap. Yes. So African markets and the main Asian markets today, very informal. So people aren't going to markets to buy toilet paper. They buy it in the market from traders. It's tires, engine oil, etc. We don't focus on classic agricultural commodities. That market is often dominated by large, the ABCD, Bunge, Cargill type players in things like soap, and then things like rice and cocoa, etc. But we take some of the same technology and same approach, and use technology that should cut costs to make it profitable at a 5,000 euro, 6,000 euro, 10,000, 500,000 euro level, where your commodity traders just don't play.
I see. Interesting. Okay. Very interesting model.
Yes. Part of what my team and I are struggling with today is our current market is still quite sizable. So we currently operate in French-speaking Central Africa, markets of Cameroon, Chad, Gabon, etc. And we still have a lot of runway to work from. But we face the challenge of both outside investors as well as people who actually provide us the capital we need to actually make the purchase up front want us to be more geographically dispersed into markets like Nigeria, Kenya, Egypt, etc. And so the main question I have is, in terms of scaling outside your launch market, especially if there's still room to grow, when you make the decision, is we can still grow and try to dominate our home market, but we still have ambitions to be much larger. And then we have other questions that you see on this slide.
How do you acquire customers today? With the 200 SMEs that you have acquired in Cameroon, how have you done that?
So we found that because these people are offline, they're not engaging through social media, etc. Really.
No,
so
that doesn't surprise me at all.
Exactly. So we've actually gone into the actual marketplaces and actually had meetings with market associations. We made travel leadership, such as a very offline kind of human-focused effort to become known through informal networks, and then we reverse on referrals. So on average, we get from each customer we have, we get around 3 to 5 referrals per customer, because again, no one serves this market in our target regions, and we reject many customers, but referrals have been our main way of growing.
And how does, if you look at the distribution of the 200 customers, what is the concentration like? If you take one, small town in Cameroon, how many customers do you get from one small town?
Yeah, so we are the main commercial center, which is Douala, which is the main port city for actually a 6-country region around us. That is around 70% of our market.
I see.
So many traders, they have to be reporters because they import from China primarily, and it's part of our strategy to be focused on these choke points of trade, as we call them. So the port cities where people break bulk and wholesale and retail to people who then come from other markets to buy, and we are the key parties in that trade.
And are there banks who service this market, or at least are these, whether they do fully service these markets or not, are these SMEs, are they going somewhere looking for growth capital or inventory financing?
The banks don't play in this realm.
But who is the go-to person of these SMEs when they look for additional financing or credit or whatever?
Friends and family.
Friends and family.
Friends and family, and it's called Njangis, Tontines, or Asusu. But you have travel associations that will basically have informal lending organizations internally, wherein people meet, combine money, and basically allocate money to one person per month that they can use to grow their business. But it doesn't scale, and so it really is a challenge.
What
banks
strikes me.
Don't want to pay them. Go ahead.
Marvin, what strikes me is that you kind of need to create your own trade associations, local trade associations in these markets, because these are really virgin markets with very little in terms of services and very little in terms of awareness and organized. These are not organized sectors. Basically, you're going into an unorganized sector and trying to organize it. So maybe the best bang for the buck would be for you to become kind of the platform where people come. And then, you do it locally, you do it in one city and become like the big platform for that city, and the word of mouth really spreads, and you go to another city and become the big platform for that city, and everybody comes there. That's probably the way I would, go about growing the footprint. Your question about franchises, approach to scaling, until you figured this out, on how exactly is the customer acquisition going to work, franchising is not going to work.
Okay.
So if you can figure all these things out, all these details out in one place of exactly how things scale, how do you create the platform, how do you bring people onto the platform, and how do you how do you bring them on, how do you onboard them as customers, all of those details, if you figure out, then you can even contemplate local franchising. Or you may decide at that point that you want to do it yourself just to kind of keep things in control, or at least maybe for the first 100 cities, you want to do it yourself, and then maybe you think about franchising when you really have a handle on that model. But I think we are not ready to make that decision. I am not so concerned about any other technology business that has scaled with local franchising or not, because you're working in Africa.
Okay.
It's not like there have
Right.
been a lot of successful technology companies in Africa, and the way the African market, unorganized sector in an African market would work, there will be no precedence for that. Maybe there are some bits and pieces of precedences in the microfinance sector in India where there have been some successful companies. So you can look at companies like SKS, which actually has had a very difficult time in the public market, SKS Microfinance, or Bandhan, which is a very successful company in microfinance. There are lots of, there are certain experiments, certain success stories in certain communities in the emerging markets that you can look into, but you will need to go into uncharted territory with some kind of bold moves of your own.
Thank you for that. The point of recruitment, it's one that we've had to really develop our local teams quite significantly.
I wouldn't worry too much, especially in the rank and file. I wouldn't give out too much equity. I think you should just do cash. Okay. And I imagine the cash compensations are not very high, so don't complicate your life. Maybe in your executive team you give some equity options, but in the rank and file I would just go with cash compensations.
Okay. That covers my main questions. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. We're going to unfortunately need to move on, Marvin. I would love to talk to you more, but let me actually see if Ashik has anything that he wants to add to that before we move on from your presentation. Ashik, do you want to?
No, look, I mean, congratulations. I love the model and how you're going about it. I don't have any specific questions over here, but I love stories where the business is about helping others. That's what Deputy is about as well. So love what you're doing, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. All right.
Folks,
thank you.
Everybody, we're going to spend just a quick, 3-4 minutes. I'll explain to you how to use 1M1M, and we'll go back to questions, okay? So if you like what we're doing here, by the way, please bring serious entrepreneurs into the program. Refer in your friends and family and colleagues. If people are looking for help with entrepreneurship, please spread the word around, and especially we are looking for the serious entrepreneurs who have the stamina. As you can see, as Ashik's story was a perfect example, 2008 till 2016 is blood, sweat, and tear, $10 million in revenue. And that's a very long period of time, and a lot of people don't get to $10 million in revenue with very long journeys as well. So you're going to have to be prepared for a lot of blood, sweat, and tear process, bootstrapping process, and that's how businesses get built. These overnight successes take 10, 20 years to actually come to fruition. Everything from a resources point of view, you'll find at 1Mby1M.com. You'll find a blog that is chock full of case studies and role model interviews, entrepreneur journey stories, etc., and lots of trend coverage. You'll learn a lot just by following the blog. The Entrepreneur Journeys book series, we have 12 volumes of those, 12 to 16 case studies per book. Each book is a case study-based book, double-clicking down on a particular topic. So it could be bootstrapping using services. We discussed a bootstrapping using services scenario today. It could be bootstrapping with a paycheck. It could be, various topics that you want to double-click down on are all available in that Entrepreneur Journeys book series, and it's available on Amazon. These roundtables happen every week. This is a 346th roundtable. So feel free to take advantage of that. Thousands and thousands of people have used this over the years and continue to do so, as you can see. Our full acceleration program is 1M1M Premium. And in the Premium program, we offer you extensive methodology guidance, lots of hand-holding, full curriculum. We have an online curriculum that you can do at your own time. And there's a lot of methodology that people need to learn in building a business. And there, we have been able to put all that methodology together in a curriculum format, easily digestible. And again, it's a case study driven approach. Over 750 successful entrepreneurs have participated in developing these case studies and brought in their lessons from the trenches, their entrepreneur journeys, so that you're essentially getting an opportunity to stand on the shoulder of 750 plus successful entrepreneurs and learn from them. We also help you with business development, and there are private roundtables where we do the strategy consulting, week after week after week. We help you with financing, but you do need to be fundable. Not everything is fundable, as I said earlier. So we will help you with the diagnostic of what is fundable, what is not fundable, where you are in the funding timeline or continuum, what to do, how to put one foot before the other, so perhaps you can become fundable one day, and when you are there, we would be happy to introduce you to investors. And then we have a lot of clout in the media. We can get the word out about who you are, what you're doing, what your product or solution is in the media through our channels. We recommend that you take the 1M1M self-assessment and ask yourself these questions. These are questions that investor would ask you, but you are the most important investor in your venture, so you should ask yourselves these questions. And if you run into methodology roadblocks, like you're asking yourself, you're reading something in the 1M1M self-assessment, and you don't really know how to do that, that piece of don't really know how to answer that question, you may need some methodology training. So go to 1M1M Basic and just do the curriculum, that module of the curriculum. You have access to the full curriculum for $99 per month, and you can, at your own pace, in your own time, do whatever you need to do and remove that methodology gap from your learning process. So that's it. You can find tons of information on the website, FAQs, video FAQs, what to expect from basic, what to expect from premium. And you figure out whether this is the program that you want to learn through, and this, we are the team that you want to work with in your acceleration process. And if you do, then we would be delighted to work with you. Our methodology is lean, capital efficient, bootstrap startups. Even if you raise money, you're going to have to bootstrap first and then raise money later. That is the philosophy of the program. That is how the market operates today. So even if you want to raise money out of the gate, you wouldn't succeed in doing so. So no point wasting time. All through April, there are roundtables every Thursday morning, so come back. We have a little bit of time for Q&A, but really little. So let's go to Q&A. If you want to dial in, you're welcome to. The instructions are on the screen. If you want to use public chat, that's fine too. Go ahead and ask your questions. Anybody? While you're doing that, let me also introduce you to Irina Patterson. If you have questions about the 1M1M program, Irina is the best person for you to reach out to, irina@1mby1m.com, and she will very patiently help you understand the program.
No questions from me. Sounds great so far.
All right. Okay. Anybody, any questions from the audience? We have 1 more minute in the scheduled session, and after which we should. Do you also help us in financial model? Yes, Amit, no problem. We absolutely will be advising you on financial modeling. Anybody else? Ashik, thank you so much for not just staying for the first 30 minutes, but also staying and mentoring the presenters, the entrepreneurs who shared their projects with us today.
No,
it's really
thank
great
you. Thank you for the opportunity.
It must be what, 4 o'clock in the morning now?
It's about 3:30 a.m. Right now. I will definitely go jump back into bed because I have a full day ahead of me tomorrow. So
well,
thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very, very much for staying. Bye-bye.
No problem. All right. All the best. Bye-bye.
All right, folks, we will wrap up today. We will meet you back here, same place, same time. Those of you who are looking for slots to present, just register on the website and Maureen will find you slots. And we look forward to continue the conversation. Remember, this is a working session. We will continue to work with you week after week after week. Thank you very much for coming, and we hope that you got something out of the program today. Bye-bye.